We are on the record now in the case of the State of Ohio versus Kyle Holt. And you're Mr. Holt, sir?
Yes, sir.
And these are case numbers 23 TRC 6673 and 23 CRB 1177. He's here with his counsel, Ms. Tome. We have Mr. King here on behalf of the State of Ohio. Purpose of our gathering today is to conduct an abbreviated second pretrial, as well as to hold an oral hearing on the defendant's motion to suppress evidence. Mr. King, has the state received a copy of that motion?
Yes, sir.
And does the state feel it's been put on sufficient notice as to what evidence is being challenged and what the basis is?
I believe so. It's sole challenge to probable cause.
Is that true, Ms. Tome?
Yes, Your Honor.
And does the challenge to probable cause include a challenge to the administration of the field sobriety test?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very well. Anything further on behalf of the state before we get underway, Mr. King?
No, sir.
On behalf of the defense, Ms. Tome?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. King, please call your first witness.
Trooper Taylor.
Trooper, please come forward and be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the case now being heard to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated. Would you state your full name and spell your last for the record, please?
Holt Taylor, Taylor,
And your complete business address.
3855 Alville Road, Granville, Ohio, 43023.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may inquire.
Thank you. You're employed by the State Highway Patrol.
Yes.
Were you so employed back on August 13th, 2023?
Yes.
Recall what shift you were working,
Third shift.
which is from when to when?
10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And duties include the enforcement of the traffic laws of the state of Ohio.
Yes.
Wearing the uniform of the day, the distinctive Highway Patrol uniform back in August 13th of this year.
Yes.
Operating a plainly marked Highway Patrol cruiser with all required markings, lights, including the working overhead light bar.
Yes.
The cruiser you were operating, was it equipped with any video recording device?
Yes.
How was that device activated?
So there was a dash camera in the cruiser, as well as a cage camera. The dash camera goes back a minute and 30 seconds prior to activating the overhead emergency lights.
And in this particular case, do you know whether you activated it by turning those lights on, or did you hit it manually?
Turning the lights on.
And were you also equipped with a body camera?
Yes.
How was it activated?
Same thing, just after the emergency lights are activated and the driver door opens, the body camera turns on.
And are you able to go back and edit, audit, change in any way either of those videos, the dash cam or your body cam?
No.
What training have you had to detect people who are impaired by alcohol?
The NHTSA manual, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration manual, and standardized field sobriety training and how it pertains to that manual.
And where did you get that training at?
At the academy that I attended for 6 months.
And what did the training consist of?
So basically there was a full week dedicated to the NHTSA manual and standardized field sobriety training. During that week we get book training on the NHTSA manual, the instructions, the guidelines, and we get hands-on training, classroom training, and as well as how to perform the test and the ins and outs. We have what's called a wet lab, where individuals come into the academy and they are put at different per se limits. And we have to actually put them individuals through tests to determine whether or not they are impaired and where they would be out in the spectrum of impairment.
How many standardized field performance tests are there?
3.
And what are they?
Horizontal gaze and nystagmus, the walk and turn test, and the one-leg stand.
Is it possible for an individual who's impaired to pass or do okay on any of those tests?
It's not a pass or fail test, no sir.
Right, but is it possible for someone who's impaired to do okay on those tests?
Yes.
How long have you been with Patrol?
A little over 2 years.
And approximately how many OVI arrests have you made?
Altogether, it's just under 200.
Based upon your training and your experience, of the 3 standardized field performance tests, which is the most reliable or the most significant?
By far, horizontal gaze and nystagmus, which is the first test of the 3.
And we'll get into how you administer that in a second. But I want to draw your attention to August 13th, 2023. Did you come into contact with an individual known to you as Kyle E. Holt?
I did.
And is he in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And point him out to the judge, if you would.
Sitting in front of me to my left, wearing a black button-up shirt.
And where'd you come into contact with him at?
The city of Newark in Lakeland County.
State of Ohio?
Yes, sir.
And before August 13, 2023, did you know the defendant?
I do.
How did you happen to know him?
I attended high school with him, and I believe we had a short stint where we played football together.
At the high school or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. You're familiar then with, well, when had been the last time you saw him? Was it in high school, after high school?
Prior to this traffic stop, it's more than likely it would have been high school.
So you came into contact with him approximately 1:20 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
What brought your attention to him?
So as I'm traveling westbound on State Route 16, I observed his vehicle weaving on the roadway.
And what do you mean by weaving?
So basically, he's not maintaining a straight lane of travel. He is touching the lines on the road. He's going from one side of his lane to the other side of his lane. And eventually, he made a traffic violation by crossing fully over the white painted fog line in the roadway.
That would be the right,
Yes, sir.
white line on the highway.
Yes, sir, in the right lane.
Now, did you know at the time of the stop that it was being driven by Mr. Holt?
No, no, sir.
When did you become aware that it was in fact Mr. Holt?
It would have been at the time I walked up to the passenger window.
I'd asked you about standardized training. Finally approach.
You may.
Let me hand you plaintiff's exhibit number 1. Have you take a look at that, and then once you're done, identify that to the court.
Yes, sir. This is the 2018 NITS manual.
Appears to be a true and accurate copy of that manual.
Yes, sir.
And you had been trained on that at the academy.
Yes, sir.
And did you receive a certificate to administer standardized field performance tests?
Yes, sir.
And that certificate applied back on August 13th, 2023.
Yes, sir.
Let's initially talk about the stop and his driving. I'm going to play, and I've marked for identification. Let me back up. I had marked that as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. That is true and accurate.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to mark the video that we're about to see as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2. Now we'll play it.
Is that both the dash cam and the body cam?
It is both, plus the back seat, which I don't intend to play any of.
Okay.
Where are you at now?
This would be 21st Street, getting ready to merge on State Route 16 westbound in the city of Newark, Lakeland County.
And while following him, did you notice any violations other than the fog lines that we have made reference to?
Not that I can recall.
Watch his, are you supposed to use a turn signal as you merge onto?
Yes.
Okay, does he?
No, sir.
Then we're not going to have sound. Once sound kicks in, I'll be quiet. But kind of narrate what you're observing as we're traveling, what, westbound?
Yes, sir. So as we're traveling westbound, he's been riding the white painted fog line pretty closely, not really towards the center of his lane.
Not crossing it, but
Not crossing it yet.
why did we all of a sudden get sound?
So as I stated, actually, I believe I stated earlier, I activated my lights. I turned my camera on manually because now we're past a minute 30 seconds, so I would have turned my camera on manually. So,
Okay, and why did you do that?
the vehicle weaving.
Okay. car now?
On top of the white painted fog line.
Is it on top or across?
I believe right here it is crossed, although as it was traveling around the corner, it was on top of the white painted fog line.
Okay.
John Edward Nora 7296. John Edward Nora 7296.
The portion of his driving and the stop, and I think I played that until 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Is that true and accurate, what you observed on that day?
Yes, sir.
Can you see a little bit better while you're seated in the cruiser than the camera picks up?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
What are we looking at now?
This would be my own person body camera.
Were there any other occupants in the vehicle other than the defendant?
No, sir.
Then I'm just going to let it play because I don't do well.
Evening, how are you? You got your license on you?
Athens, registered owner is Kyle.
You what?
25-year-old male.
That's fine.
Suspended.
Shit, man.
Mike, that's 151.
You know the reason why I stopped you?
I do not.
Okay, alright. Number one, you never use your turn signal while pulling on 16, okay?
Okay.
Number two, you went over this white painted fog line back here. Is there a reason for that?
I wasn't aware of it. It's alright.
Okay, where you come from?
I'm coming from the hub in Newark.
Okay, where you heading to?
Do you know what the hub is?
Yes, I believe this is the bar on 11th Street.
Mr. 151, check up.
Columbus.
Okay, are you aware that this is an ID card?
Okay.
Yeah.
Or are you aware that your license is suspended?
Yeah, I have driving privileges.
Okay, do you have that documentation with you?
Let me search in my center console.
Okay.
Actually, I'm driving outside of my driving privileges.
Now, he just indicated, he handed you identification, it was just an identification card,
Yes, sir.
and indicated he had driving privileges.
Yes, sir.
And I think what we just heard was he admitted he was outside of them.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, he was not charged with that, but did he have any driving privileges at all that you recall?
Yes, that is 100% my mistake for not charging him with that. I don't know how that happened. I believe he did not have any driving privileges.
Okay. Let me hand you what I marked for identification purposes as Plaintiff's Exhibit 3. Can you identify that?
Yes, this is a BMV record.
And can you access those records from your cruiser?
Yes.
And you would have had that available to you, at least maybe not in the paper form, but visually on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Does it list any driving privileges on there?
No, sir.
As a matter of fact, he was under a court-ordered suspension, was he not?
Yes, sir.
Which is a misdemeanor of the first degree.
Yes, sir.
He also had, in addition to that suspension, he had a permanent ID card at this time, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So why are you driving then?
I just came from a show. I performed at. I'm a part of a show that we film pop shows.
Okay. How much you had to drink tonight, man?
I've had a couple things.
Okay. What time was your last drink?
Probably 45 minutes ago.
Okay. What time was your first drink?
Probably 2 hours ago.
Okay. What was you drinking? Okay. You think you should be driving?
I'm alright to drive, yeah.
Okay. I'll ask you to keep your hands up on the steering wheel for me, okay?
Yeah, so.
Alright, bud. I'm gonna have you step out and check out your eyes here, make sure you're safe to drive. Go and step out for me. Just gonna walk right here in front of my car, okay? I'll ask you to place your hands up on the hood. I'm gonna turn these lights off for you.
Holt?
That'd be me.
Defendant has now recognized you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's go and turn and face me. Keep your feet all the way together for me. Just keep your arms flat down at your sides, okay? I'll ask you just remain in that position until I tell you to move out, okay? Do you have any head injuries, prior concussions?
Couple concussions, that's all.
Okay. Did you have trouble with your balance or walking in a straight line? The contacts for that?
Now, what are you about to do?
This is the pre-medical questionnaire, meaning I'm about to move into the horizontal gaze and nystagmus.
And how do you administer that test?
So basically, the first things first, start with the pre-screening. I will take my stimulus, which I just use my ink pen, and I'll put my finger on top of my ink pen. I'll verify that they can see the top of my ink pen where my finger's at, and that'll be my stimulus. I will hold my stimulus 12 to 15 inches from the individual's face, their eyes, slightly above eye level, and at that point, I will give instructions for the test, and I will move right into the pre-screening, which is essentially lack of smooth pursuit. And there's 3 phases of horizontal gaze and nystagmus, and I will move directly into each phase, one by one.
The pre-screening, what are you looking for on that?
I'm looking for pupil size, resting nystagmus, and equal tracking.
Okay. Had you found any of those in the defendant?
No, sir.
Had you found them, would you have even continued on the HGN?
No, sir.
Okay. So walk me through again, you do the pre-screening, walk me through each step of the HGN.
So immediately after the pre-screening, I'm moving into the lack of smooth pursuit. Once again, I'm taking my stimulus 12 to 15 inches from the individual's face. I'm going from directly of center as soon as I'm done with the pre-screening, and I'm moving all the way out to the side. As soon as I get all the way out, I'm moving back to the other side. Each pass has to take, or each side has to take 2 seconds. Each full pass has to take a minimum of 4 seconds.
Which eye do you start with, do you recall?
Their left eye, moving to my right side.
Okay.
Immediately after that, moving in what's called distinct and sustained.
Okay, on that portion, the smooth pursuit, how many clues are there?
2.
And that's how many for each eye?
1.
And how many times do you do the smooth pursuit passes?
2 passes on each eye, so 2 total passes.
When you administered that to the defendant, how many clues did you get?
2.
And then you go to the next stage, describe it.
The next stage is distinct and sustained nystagmus, a maximum deviation,
What the heck does that mean?
meaning my stimulus is going to go from center of face. As soon as I am done with the lack of smooth pursuit, I'm going from center all the way out to what's called maximum deviation. That's where your eyes are all the way maxed out to the side, where you can't see any more white. It's just all pupil buried all the way out to the side, as far as the individual can see. At that point, you're going to hold the stimulus for a minimum of 4 seconds, a maximum of 30 seconds, and you're looking for nystagmus, involuntary muscle jerking of the eyes. You're looking for the eyes to come in, go back out, come in, go back out. You're just looking for that nystagmus, and then you do each pass twice.
And how many clues just on this portion of the HGN?
2.
One for each eye?
Yes, sir.
When you administered the test to the defendant, how many clues did you get?
2.
So we're now up to 4. What's the significance of getting 4 out of 6 clues?
That indicates that the individual is at or above the legal limit, which is 0.08.
Okay. And then the last portion of the HGN.
Onset nystagmus prior to 45 degrees.
What does that mean?
So I'm taking my stimulus, just like as I stated, as soon as I am done with maximum deviation, I will go back to center, and it's going to take me 4 seconds, minimum 4 seconds, to get out to 45 degrees, which is going to be halfway between center of face and maximum deviation. As soon as I observe nystagmus prior to the 45 degrees, I have to stop and verify with my stimulus that the nystagmus is there for a minimum of 2 seconds. Once I verify that the nystagmus is there, I'm moving on to the other side of the face, and I do each pass twice.
Okay, and how many clues just on this portion?
2.
And when you administered it to the defendant, how many did you get?
2.
So you got a total of 6 out of 6 clues?
Yes, sir.
And we've already talked about 4 out of 6 clues. I want to back up a little bit. When you first made contact with the defendant at his vehicle, did you smell anything
Yes,
that
sir.
aroused your suspicion? What did you smell?
The strong odor of an alcoholic beverage.
Anything else?
Raw marijuana.
Raw marijuana?
Yes, sir.
And how about his physical appearance? Did you make any note about his physical appearance?
Yes. Face was flushed, sweating a little bit. His eyes were glassy and bloodshot, and his speech did not appear normal to what I'm used to. It appeared to be a little bit slurred.
From your earlier familiarity
interactions
with him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How would you characterize the odor of an alcoholic beverage?
Strong.
Strong?
Yes, sir.
And at least initially, he had indicated he had a couple of drinks.
Yes.
It was kind of hard to hear. Did he say what kind of drinks they were?
He said beer, possibly Corona. I apologize. I would have to watch the video again to
Okay. You worked last night?
Yes, sir.
You're going to work tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do you have any physical injuries? Currently taking any medication? No. Alright. So I'm do now. See the tip of my pen right here? Once you follow the tip of my pen with your eyes and only your eyes. Don't move your head and don't turn your body. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Do you have any questions at all? Yes, sir.
You looking good, boy.
Can you call what he said?
The defendant said you're looking
One,
for
which one I got?
Kyle, we're gonna put down now, okay? Same thing, just keep going, take my pen here, okay?
What are you doing now?
This is vertical gaze nystagmus.
And what's the significance of vertical gaze nystagmus?
So vertical gaze nystagmus is going, if you observe vertical gaze nystagmus, VGN, it's going to indicate that that individual consumed a high level of alcohol for that specific person.
Okay. It is also activated by certain drugs.
I'm sorry?
Is it also present in certain drugs
Yes.
as well? When you administered vertical, did you get any vertical gaze nystagmus on the defendant?
No.
We may go over it, you may be asked. Is it unusual not to be able to see the actual, well, first, let me ask you, what is nystagmus?
The involuntary muscle jerking of the eyes.
Is it unusual not to be able to see that on your body cam?
No, like as I stated once here before, I believe I can only recall one video where I could actually see the nystagmus.
Okay.
Usually, if an individual is taller than me, for some reason, my body camera picks it up. If they're shorter than me, it doesn't pick it up.
Okay. So you've got 6 out of 6 on the HGN. What's the next test that you're going to do?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I moved directly into lack of convergence.
Okay, and what is lack of convergence?
It's a good tool for alcohol and marijuana use, CNS, central nervous system depressant. Basically, anytime I feel like marijuana might also be a factor, I will use it. But it all, like as I stated, it's also good for alcohol. If you're just looking for the eyes to converge, anytime you're consuming CNS depressant, it's going to slow down your not only slow down your motor skills, but it also it affects your muscles in your eyes. And whenever you consume a high level, it'll actually make it to where your eyes can't converge. Usually, what you'll see is one eye floating off to the side once my stimulus is directly in front of their face, and then one eye will converge.
And that's at high levels of alcohol consumption?
Yes, high level of alcohol consumption or usually moderate marijuana consumption.
And when you administered the lack of convergence, did you get a lack of convergence?
No, sir.
You're going to ask the defendant some questions right after you finish this, and I'll pause it once we get done and ask you some questions.
All right, Kyle, I'm gonna give you a chance to be honest with me here, okay? You had more than 2 drinks, okay? All right. That test we just done is called horizontal gaze and nystagmus. You just keep your arms sweat down your sides for me, okay, bud? There's total 66 clues that can be observed that indicates that you're over the legal limit, which is 0.08, okay? I have all 66 clues. You want to be honest with me, Kyle? How much you had drank, okay?
Maybe 3, 4 times.
I smell the alcohol coming from your breath as I'm standing right here, okay? When's the last time you smoked marijuana?
It's been probably over 8 hours.
Okay. You have
So initially he said he had a couple of beers, and now it's up to 3 or so. Why did you ask him those questions?
Just for honesty. I mean, obviously it happens on every traffic stop. Usually the answer always starts out at 2. It gets kind of old. It's always 2 for some reason. I'm not sure why. But just really for honesty, just to see if it's going to fess up to the actual number.
You had indicated to him, though, that, be honest with me, you got 6 out of 6 clues. Why were you asking those questions? Could you tell that he had more than the 2?
So obviously, being an average-sized male, 2 beers, everyone's body type is different, but 2 beers is not going to create 6 of 6 clues for horizontal gaze and nystagmus. To reach the legal limit, I believe the average, which like I said, that's give or take, is usually around 6 to 7 beers. So obviously 2 beers isn't going to create 6 of 6 clues.
So now he's left 2 and gone to 3 or 4, I think,
Yes, sir.
whatever it says.
your medical marijuana license?
No.
Okay. Is there a reason I smell marijuana up the car too, Kyle?
To be honest with you, I might have a tiny little sack.
Okay. So what did you smoke marijuana with? Were you smoking out with
It
bowl,
was-
blunt?
It wasn't even mine that I smoked. I haven't even smoked out. Exactly.
Is the marijuana in your vehicle yours?
Yeah.
Do you have any marijuana paraphernalia?
No.
And once again, do you have your medical marijuana license? Right. Same thing, once you follow tip my pin again, I'm going to do 2 circles around your face. I'm going to come in towards bridge your nose once you follow tip my pin the entire time, okay? You understand?
Say that again?
Once you follow tip my pin again, I'm going to do 2 circles around your face. I'm going to come in towards the bridge of your nose. I just want you to follow tip my pin the entire time, okay? You have any questions at all about that?
Yes,
Do you understand the test?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just don't move your head and don't turn your body. Just look right here for me, okay? Tip my pin.
Lancaster 1971, check out.
So, go on, test.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to do a walk and turn test, okay? You want to go and stand back here at the back of your vehicle for me?
Facing you?
Yeah, just stand right there where my light's at.
Now what are you going to administer?
The walk and turn test.
How many total clues are there on that?
8.
And on this particular case, and we'll play the video, but you recall how many actual clues you got?
I believe 1.
And then you progress to the one-leg stand. How many clues did you get on that?
I believe it was either 0 or 1. I'm sorry. I'd have to, pretty sure it was 0, but I'd have to look at my report.
Okay. We'll get through that as well. But in addition to clues, are there other observations such as swaying, counting, things of that nature
Yes, sir.
that you can also observe and consider?
Yes, sir.
Let's go and turn and face me. Keep your feet all the way together for me. Take your right foot, but heel to toe and your left foot like mine. Just keep your arms flat down your sides. It's all the way flat. That's the starting position for the test. It's remain in the position until I tell you to start the test, okay? You understand?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions at all about that?
Yes, sir.
I want you to now take 9 heel to toe steps in a straight line, coming off the toe of your right foot down the imaginary straight line in front of my car. Can you imagine the straight line?
Yes, sir.
Once you take 9 heel to toe steps, like I said, keep your arms flat down at your sides, look at your feet, and count off every step. On your 9th heel to toe step, your lead foot's going to stay on the line. You're then going to take a series of small steps to turn around on the line and take 9 heel to toe steps back down the line. Like I said, arms flat down at your sides for the entirety of the test. Look at your feet and count off every step. I'm going to demonstrate the test for you, so I want you to look at me, okay? Like I said, just stay in that position for me. Position that you're in now, 9 heel to toe steps. 1, 2, 3. Assuming that this is your 9th step, your lead foot's going to stay on the line. Then you're going to take a series of small steps with your following foot to turn around on the line and take 9 back. 1, 2, 3. I took 3 steps for demonstration purposes. You're going to be taking 9. Okay?
Is this my first step?
No, it is not.
Okay.
All right. Once you start the test, do not stop until you've completed it.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions at all?
No, sir.
Had you told him to count out loud?
Yes.
Did he?
I believe he did for some of it, a portion of it.
Just feet all the way back together for me. Arms flat down your sides. We're gonna do one leg stand test now, okay? I just want you to remain in that position today to start the test one more time, okay? Position that you're in now, I want you to raise whichever foot you're comfortable with. Could be your left foot, could be your right foot, it does not matter. I want you to raise that foot approximately, just not right now, just wait till I tell you to begin, okay? I want you to raise that foot approximately 6 inches off the ground. Keeping your foot parallel to the ground with both legs straight. I want you to look at your raised foot and count off the 1000s. 1001, 1002, 1003, and so on until I tell you to stop. Okay? I'm going to demonstrate the test for you, so I want you to look at me. Position that you're in now, like I said, you can raise your left foot or your right foot. It's completely your choice, okay? So it looks something like this. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, and so on until I tell you to stop. Keep your arms flat down your sides. You're looking at that raised foot while keeping both legs straight, and your raised foot 6 inches off the ground, parallel to the ground, okay? You're counting off the 1000s, all right? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions at all?
No, sir.
Stopwatch. Hang on a second. All right, you can begin.
2002, 2003, 2004, 2005.
Is he counting the way you demonstrated and told him to?
No, sir.
How is he counting?
Throughout the test, he's counting by hundreds, thousands, this backwards. This.
In addition, is he supposed to be looking down at his foot?
Yes, sir.
Why?
It's for balance purposes.
2006, 6007, 7008, 8009, 9010, 10,011, 11,012, 12,013,
Is he looking at his foot?
12,014, 14,000, 15,016, 16,017, 17,000.
Okay, Kyle, you can stop. It's one more test, okay? Just gonna walk right your back.
When he did the shoulder shrug, you didn't count that against him as far as your reports go?
No. My rule of thumb is I like to see it 3 times for me to count it. Yes, can count it, yes, but I want to see it at least 3 times.
You would agree that with respect to the walk and turn in the one leg stand, he didn't do badly?
No, sir.
So do you recall what else you may have administered to the defendant?
The modified Romberg test.
And what is that?
It's a good tool used for the perception of time.
Okay, and how do you administer that?
So basically just give instructions, feet all the way together, arms flat down through sides. Same way, same starting position as horizontal gaze and nystagmus. I'll give instructions for them to tilt their head back, close their eyes. As soon as they close their eyes, they're estimating the passing of 30 seconds, the true passing of 30 seconds. They can estimate the passing of 30 seconds however they'd like, it just needs to be the 30 seconds. Whenever they feel like that true passing of 30 seconds has passed, they need to tilt their head back forward, open their eyes, and verbally say stop. At that point, the stopwatch stops.
And that was at 30 seconds. Is there kind of any wiggle room or leeway on either side of that?
According to the A-Ride manual, there is a 5-second gap, is what correlates with the clue.
Okay. Do you recall off the top of your head how long it took the defendant to do that?
Not the approximate time, but I know it was over 40 seconds. It's well over 40 seconds.
Okay, 40?
Yes, sir.
40. And again, what is the significance of that?
It's just the perception of time, just as I stated, just when you're going down the road and you're looking at traffic signs, traffic control devices, you need that perception of time to drive safely.
Front of my car for me. Let's go and turn, face me again.
Hardest test ever.
Speed all the way together. Arms flat down at your sides, okay? One more time, just remain in that position until I start this test, okay? What you do now, whenever I tell you to begin, I want you to tilt your head back. Not right now, just wait till I instruct you to start. Tilt your head back, close your eyes. As soon as you close your eyes, you're estimating the passing of 30 seconds, okay? Whenever you feel like 30 seconds has passed, I want you to tilt your head back forward, open your eyes, and verbally say stop, okay? So like I said, position that you're in now, I'm not gonna close my eyys for instruction.
You're
just tilting your head back like this, you're closing your eyes. As soon as you close your eyes, you're estimating the passing of 30 seconds, okay? As soon as you feel like 30 seconds has passed, tilt your head back forward, open your eyes, and like I said, say stop, okay? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions at all?
No, sir.
And you can begin whenever you're ready. How long do you think that was, Kyle?
33 seconds.
Okay. How did you estimate the passing 30 seconds?
How did I estimate it?
Thousands, Mississippis. How'd you guess? How did you get 30 seconds?
It's kind of it's a technique I use meditating.
Okay. You meditate?
Yeah. So I kind of have to use a 15-minute. I started with guided meditation, which took 15 minutes, and eventually they took off the guides.
Okay.
And at 15 minutes.
15
I try to
minutes?
stop. Yeah, and so sometimes I'll be right, sometimes I'll be really early.
All right, let's go and turn and face the windshield of my car, Kyle. Just place your hands on your back like the clapping gun. Put your palms together.
And do you recall how long it took him to estimate the 30?
I knew it was over 40 seconds. I should have just counted just there. I believe it's like 44, 43.
If your report says 43, would you quibble with that?
Yes, sir.
You would quibble with it?
Yes, sir.
So how are you going to quibble it?
Maybe you should explain what quibble means.
Quibble means you disagree.
Oh, I apologize.
I
agree that it was 43 seconds.
Okay.
So given the fact that the walk and turn and the one-leg stand, I mean, can people do those being impaired?
Absolutely. And a lot of times, just from my training experience, you take someone who's an habitual alcoholic, who drinks a lot, that is in good health, especially younger, probably going to have a decent walk and turn and one-leg stand. But that's the importance of horizontal gaze and nystagmus. You can't control nystagmus. No matter who you are, doesn't matter. Nystagmus is always going to be there if you are impaired.
And is the involuntary jerking of the eyes?
Yes.
Given his performance, why did you place him under arrest?
The totality of circumstances.
Which is what?
The moving violation, the flushed face, glassy bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, the very strong odor of alcohol in the car, the very strong odor of alcohol out of the car off of his breath. The admission keeps going up. The horizontal gaze and nystagmus, 6 of 6 clues. can't let someone drive down the road with 6 of 6 clues. They're over .08. Modified Romberg, his perception of time is obviously altered. He is slowed down, such follows the CNS depressant rule, slows your motor skills down, slows everything down. It is everything altogether.
With 6 out of 6 clues, were you going to let him drive away?
Absolutely not.
Assuming that he could drive away if he had driving privileges, but, and why not?
Because he's over the legal limit and he is impaired.
And that again is based upon your training experience. And did they familiarize you with the various studies for the HGN?
Yes.
During the training?
Yes.
And does that correspond to what you observe out in the real world as far as people getting 6 out of 6 clues?
Absolutely.
The portion of the video, your body cam, is that a true and accurate rendition of the interaction between you and the defendant?
Yes.
And I don't know if I asked you or not, but the BMV record, Plaintiff's Exhibit 3, has that been altered? Does that seem to be a true and accurate, unofficial copy of what you had available to you
Yes.
from your computer?
Yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, cross-examination, Ms. Tome.
Thank you. Good morning, Trooper.
Good morning.
Back to the observation of driving. When you got behind him and he was turning left onto the exit ramp he was on 21st, turning onto 161?
16. State Route 16.
State Route 16. Sorry, I said exit ramp, entrance ramp. He used his turn signal at that point, correct?
Initially.
Okay. And I believe there's a traffic light there,
On 21st Street, yes, ma'am.
and he stopped at the traffic light.
Yes.
And then you indicated he did not use his turn signal when he merged onto 16.
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that's a violation of the traffic code?
Yes.
At that point? Okay.
Yes.
Does that lane, the lane that he entered, is that its own lane, or does that merge into the other lane?
So you have to yield for traffic that is traveling
Correct.
westbound. So you need to activate your turn signal to merge into traffic. It's just it's to let that traffic know that you're coming on to State Route 16 from 21st Street.
But he would have nowhere else to go, correct?
It's kind of a dead-end argument. You have to use your turn signal when merging onto another road. You're merging from 21st on the State Route 16.
Okay. Then you when you started your lights to pull him over, he used his turn signal at that point, correct?
As he's pulling over,
Yes.
I believe so. Yes.
And he pulled off the road onto the median appropriately.
Onto the berm. I don't know. Berm appropriately. Wasn't blocking traffic. No, it wasn't blocking traffic.
Okay. So he's off the road.
Yes.
And I think there's a guardrail there, correct?
Yes.
Didn't hit the guardrail, of course.
No.
So then you interact with him, and did you indicate that you believed his speech was slurred when you were originally talking with him?
At the vehicle, yes.
And do you believe that slurring was present on your video as well?
I mean, it's not the same as hearing in person, but yes, I'd say.
Okay, so what we heard today is an accurate recording of what you heard that night. And and your position is that was slurred speech?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated he had bloodshot glassy eyes. Obviously you have him standing close to your body cam
Yes.
once he's out of the vehicle. And do you believe that his eyes are bloodshot and glassy at that point as well on your body cam?
Okay, well, I'm not looking at him through my body camera. I'm looking at him through my eyes, my natural sight. With the body camera, I mean, it's through a camera. So
Okay.
when you take a picture of someone, their eyes always look different. It's just a camera. You're looking at it through a camera lens. So his eyes are glassy and bloodshot, whether or not a certain person or determines themselves if they're seeing bloodshot through the camera, I can't really say that.
Okay, well, but we saw it here, we all saw the same thing this morning.
Yes.
And would you agree that viewing it through the camera, you do not see bloodshot glassy eyes?
Like I said, it just comes down to the person watching it, but I mean,
I guess that's right, and I'm asking you.
I believe they're glass still glass.
Okay, so your position is what we saw on camera appeared to be bloodshot glassy eyes?
Yes.
Okay. And then you administer the horizontal gaze nystagmus, and he stood straight up and down, wasn't swaying during that process, correct?
He may have been swaying back and forth a little bit, but not an extreme amount, no.
Always kept his hands down at his side as instructed?
Yes.
Okay, and you began the performance of the test. He followed your directions correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe you said you observed things differently than we are able to see them on your camera?
It's not really what I'm stating. I'm stating that it's different when you're actually looking at someone with your eyes versus a camera at night.
So when you watched it this morning, did you continue to see nystagmus?
Actually, I think I did see a little bit of nystagmus in that video, which is surprising, but yes, I did actually.
Okay. Do you remember at what point?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What point did you see it?
Distinct and sustained nystagmus at the second pass before these like that.
Okay. But you did not see lack of smooth pursuit when we were watching it on the video?
Really everything else is kind of hard to see, but you can see kind of bits and pieces of stuff with the camera.
Okay. So you indicated on that night you saw 6 of 6 clues.
Absolutely.
And that for you is the
They're all-
point where you're going to make a decision to arrest him.
That is not the point where I'm going to make a decision, but I will not let someone drive down the road with 6 of 6 clues.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
What is the alternative?
You said it's not the point where you would decide to arrest them, but you won't let them drive down the road.
Well, I have a due diligence to conduct the rest of my tests.
Okay. And I guess the question is why? If 6 of 6 clues on the HGN means everything, what's the point of the additional tests?
It's to get the totality of the stock. You need all 3 tests. It's fair to give all 3 tests. I mean, but although, that being said, you get 6 of 6 clues for HGN and no other test, yes, it will be placed under arrest.
Okay. So there is no point in the additional tests?
That's not what I'm stating at all.
Okay. All right. Well, in fact, he passed the additional tests.
It's not a pass or fail test.
Okay. Well,
I wouldn't say pass by any means, because he didn't follow instructions.
but you didn't get the clues that you were looking for.
If you don't follow instructions, it's hard to get the clues. So it kind of contradicts what you're saying.
What instructions did he not follow?
The walk and turn, he's grabbing his pant leg as he's walking. That's going to prevent his arm from raising 6 inches from his side. The one leg stand, when he's looking at me, he's supposed to be looking at his foot. That's going to help out his balance. The reason why you look at your foot is for the balance. That test is for balance. And if you're not following the instructions properly, then you can't, the test isn't being conducted by him properly.
Okay. So there's no, basically the walk and turn and the one leg stand mean nothing in your consideration of whether you're going to arrest him?
That's not what I'm stating, though.
Okay.
They're still important tests. I'm stating the horizontal gaze nystagmus is the most important test. But every other test is still important in its own way.
Okay. So if he had not grabbed his pant leg while he was doing the walk and turn, and if he had not looked at you for a matter of seconds while he was doing the one leg stand, would you have not arrested him?
First of all, it's not just that. I mean, he's not counting off while he's walking. It's a divided attention test. You have to follow the instructions accordingly for that test to be fully observed the right way. If you're not following the instructions, then, as I stated before, the clues aren't always going to be there if you're not following the instructions properly.
Okay. So, but let's talk about the walk and turn. He didn't move his feet to keep balance while listening to instructions.
I don't believe so, no.
He didn't start before the instructions were completed.
No.
He touched heel to toe.
Yes.
He did not raise his arms 6 inches or more for balance.
He raised his arms, but I don't believe it was over 6 inches. No.
Okay. He did not step off the line.
No.
And you indicated the one clue you saw was then there's turns correctly or loses balance while turning. The two of those different actions are one clue, correct?
Yes.
And he didn't lose his balance while turning.
He turned incorrectly.
He turned incorrectly. And by turning incorrectly, he sort of pivoted instead of taking a series of small steps.
I believe he pretty much put his feet together too after he turned. You have to leave your lead foot on the line and then actually turn with your following foot.
And he-
It's simultaneous. You can't turn both feet at once.
Okay, so and he took the correct number of steps.
Yes.
And on the one leg stand, he did not sway while balancing.
Not enough for me to count as clue, no.
And now there was like a shoulder thing at one point that we discussed.
That was swaying, but it was just
Oh, that was
half
the
a second or whatever.
Okay, so that was what you would consider the swaying.
I didn't consider that swaying,
Okay.
but what I'm saying is if that was a longer duration of time, then yes, I would
It was,
have counted it,
yeah,
yes.
it was something we all saw.
Yes.
He did not raise his arms more than 6 inches.
No.
And he did not hop,
No.
and he did not put his foot down.
No.
Now, the lack of convergence, I don't know if this was asked. You performed the test, but did you observe it?
It was not observed, no.
Okay. And the modified Romberg, he counted to 40. I think you said you believe it was 43 instead of 30.
It was 43 seconds, yes.
Okay. Instead of 30. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Briefly, Trooper, you were asked some questions on cross-examination regarding using the turn signal when you were merging onto State Route 16 and whether it was a violation or not. Is driving over the fog line a violation?
Yes.
You had also indicated slurred speech. You've spoken with the defendant before, right? Based upon that experience versus what you were hearing here, did his speech, at least at times, appear to be slurred?
Yes.
Are you in here lying about whether he had glassy, bloodshot eyes?
No, sir.
Lying about observing nystagmus?
No.
And right after you do the nystagmus, he has already said he had 2 beers. Right after the nystagmus, how many did he then increase it to?
3 or 4.
6 out of 6 clues. Were you going to let this gentleman, regardless of how he did on the other 2 standardized field performance tests, were you going to let him drive away?
No.
Why?
Because I'm not going to risk someone dying on the roadway because of my lack of job performance.
Nothing further.
Recross.
No, Your Honor.
All right, Trooper, you may step down. Thank you very much. Any additional witnesses on behalf of the state?
No additional witnesses, Your Honor.
Do you wish to address your exhibits?
Yes, Plaintiff's Exhibit 1 is the 2018 NHTSA manual. Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 is still loaded up into the computer, but it's the video. And Plaintiff's Exhibit 3 was the unofficial B&B printout.
Any objection to any of the 3 exhibits, Ms. Home?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 1 through 3 will be admitted without objection. Stay rest.
We do, Your Honor.
And Ms. Home, did the defendant wish to, did the defense wish to call any witnesses or present any evidence?
No, sir.
Mr. King, did the state wish to make any argument?
I'm not going to belabor this, Your Honor. This is obviously to the court. You've heard the testimony, you've seen the video. We believe that the trooper did in fact have probable cause to believe that the defendant was impaired by alcohol and was not going to be permitted to leave. Thank you.
All righty. And Ms. Home?
The court's well aware of the standards here. The court obviously was able to observe the evidence that was presented, and I'll rest on that.
And would you care to make a rebuttal argument to the
No, thank you,
defendant's
Your
argument?
Honor.
All right, well, this is beginning to be a pattern. I do believe that the court has sufficient evidence before it today that it doesn't require any additional deliberations. you know, the court's required to look at the totality of the circumstances. I don't think there was really any cross-examination regarding the administration of the field sobriety test being deficient or not in substantial compliance with accepted methods. So as far as the tests themselves are concerned, the court does afford the defendant credit for doing well on the one-leg stand and the walk and turn test. The testimony did not reflect what the clues were, but the manual does, and that being in evidence, the court can consider that. And the court notes that grabbing a pant leg is not a clue, so for whatever that's worth. Well, the long and the short of it is the court finds that the one leg or the horizontal gaze nystagmus test is strong evidence of impairment, as is the gross overestimation on the modified Romberg test. Court gives credit to the defendant for the lack of any lack of convergence, but ultimately the court is required to determine whether or not the facts and circumstances within Trooper Taylor's knowledge were sufficient to warrant a man or person of reasonable caution in the belief that an offense had been committed. In this particular case, would be the offense of OBI, and he's not required to have evidence sufficient to sustain a conviction at the moment of arrest, but the court does believe that he did in fact have probable cause to arrest. So I'll put on an entry reflecting that, and I believe we're scheduled for trial on February the 1st, so until and unless the court hears differently, we'll plan on having a jury on the 1st. One thing that I should note, Ms. Tome, I was glancing through the file, and I came across my notes from our pretrial conference. My notes had reflected first-timer, but in reviewing the unofficial printout, it would appear that the defendant was charged with an OVI in Athens County Municipal Court in March of this particular year and was ultimately convicted of a reckless operation charge. That would have some impact on the court's decision-making when it comes to sentencing. Okay? All right. Anything further, Mr. King?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Tome?
No, Your Honor.
All right. We're going to take a recess before we get started on the sheriff matter.